Assalamu alaikum, guys. So I came across a clip or a clip of N3on and Sneako.
Hey, why do you think he sold his soul?
He did a magician hypnotherapy stream, and they were offering him stuff, and they told him to speak to a jinn and throw money at him. And then right after the hypnotherapy, the magician said that he can convert into Judaism in 10 seconds. And then when I was calling him on stream to try to speak to him and tell him that it was shirk and that it was sihr and black magic, he rejected the call. But afterwards, it seemed like he realized that was incorrect. And I did that because I care about you, bro.
Or Sneako advising N3on in regards to, avoiding or staying away from these, I guess, new age hypnotherapy magician types. And I think it's a very important point to make here, although I don't watch N3on's content or Sneako's for that matter, but I think this is an important point to highlight because this is an example of how the younger Muslim audience is being potentially influenced in a negative way by some of these new age ideologies which incorporate into their systems the idea of ancient magic, the idea of occult practices and rituals, and by extension, the engagement with entities, the jinn, the shayateen amongst the jinn. And the scary thing and the worrying thing is, from a new age perspective, is that in most cases, they don't know what they're engaging with. They don't know what they're messing around with because they've lost the metaphysical framing of the past. They don't know that these things that they're dabbling with or messing around with are not safe, they are dangerous, they are evil. And although you may seek benefit and you may gain some benefit in the short term, in the long term is disastrous. This applies to the new age guys that are dabbling with this stuff and messing around with this stuff, and by extension, those individuals that they are bringing on or onboarding as clients. And unfortunately, many of our younger Muslim brothers and sisters seem to also be influenced, as in the case of N3on, an archetypical example in this case, if you like, not knowing what's really going on, not understanding what Islam has to say in regards to these entities, these beings, these magicians, and that ignorance can be detrimental. This is an example. There are many young people out there today, young Muslims, who are engaging with stuff that they shouldn't be engaging with. I know two brothers, I won't mention just in case here. They don't want me to mention their names. But they are a part of the IRIP team. They reside in Egypt or from Egypt. And they have been keeping a track over the movement of younger Muslims and these new age ideologies and movements. In particular, the new age UFO movement. And there are groups in Egypt that are being inspired, and other parts of the world that are being inspired by people like Stephen Greer, who promotes the CE5 protocol, and are also being inspired by the psionics type of thing. Essentially what these things are is modes or mechanisms, modern mechanisms of contacting aliens, contacting ET, extraterrestrial entities, and getting in touch with them. And these things are being promoted today, almost like a do-it-yourself type of thing, that you've been suppressed and you need to speak to these entities, and you have the conscious apparatus to contact these entities and engage with them and learn from them and benefit from them. And along with this narrative goes the idea that these are more superior beings spiritually, and they're here for your development, just like they were there in the past for the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians and others. CE5 and other protocols are being pushed as something good on social media, and many people are engaging with them, including Muslims. And it's resulting in some detrimental effects. Now, there's two fundamental issues here. One is the issue of knowledge and the misunderstanding of what these entities are, what these beings are. They're being sold to you as extraterrestrial entities or aliens that are here for your spiritual development and upliftment. But in reality, what's the proof? If you go through many of the other videos on this channel, you realize, well, there's hardly any proof to suggest that these entities that are a part of this phenomena are extraterrestrial or alien. If anything, all of the evidence points towards the fact that they are the jinn, or specifically the shayateen amongst the jinn, and therefore you have to be very careful. Islam discourages us to engage with the shayateen, to try seeking benefit from the shayateen, and by extension the magicians. Because ultimately the reality is, when you engage with this stuff, it inevitably leads to shirk, either in the beginning or in the process. To get in touch with these entities, many times you are required to engage in practices which are diabolical, despicable, disgusting. Some of these elites, like Epstein, is a perfect example for us, and the stuff he was engaging in to seek favor from these entities, etc. And there are many like him and others who have been engaging with this stuff, and they have to do some really disgusting things to seek favor from these entities. From an Islamic perspective, they would require shirk, associating partners with God, doing disgusting things, immoral things with religious artifacts and otherwise, which will lead you down a slippery slope of destruction. And if it doesn't happen in the beginning, along the way, when you are involved in these relationships, on these engagements, something's going to be required of you that your soul deep down would not agree with, but you are so down that pathway or that rabbit hole that you are now stuck. And from many experiences that I've had speaking to people, or where I've spoken to people and they've shared the experiences, they have had some terrible, terrible experiences. These things don't leave them. They terrorize them. They terrorize their families, their friends, their lives are turned upside down. You don't want to be messing around with this stuff. And I know the point I guess I'm getting at is that today, this stuff, this is being sold to us as something amazing and uplifting and spiritually awakening and profound. Contact these entities. And in the case of N3on here, it seems like there was some sort of a psychotherapist that was also engaging in new age occult practices, magic, that was trying to mislead him. And people need to be aware of this stuff, and especially in the age that we live in. Remember, in this post-modern age, we're in an age of pick and mix. Anything goes, right? In the past, magicians would be known as magicians, and they would have specific protocols and be very easy to identify them. Today, it's very difficult to identify them because it's such a mix of different ideas and ideologies and views and thoughts that these people hold, that it's almost covered up and you can't tell who's actually a magician and who's actually not. And if what I've understood from that clip I saw, that this was a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist or a counselor that was also a magician, I'm not surprised. There are people like that out there today. And look, I'm going to make clear, I'm not saying don't seek counseling or therapy. I advocate for that. If you are struggling with mental health, other psychological issues, as you in my previous podcast with Dr. Abu Isa and others, who is a psychiatrist, he's mentioned that this can sometimes be related to the unseen and have a dark metaphysical angle to it, like jinn and waswas, etc. But it can all types of possession, or it could be purely psychological in some cases, and therefore we should always look at those options as well. See initially, before even, I think, according to his advice, don't just assume it's jinn related. Seek counseling, seek medical help, seek psychotherapy. These are tools, it's medicine. But at the same time, be aware that it could have a different explanation, And in some cases, or in most cases that Dr. Abu Isa mentioned, that it's a combination of two. There's that physical aspect, the psychological aspect, but there's also this dark metaphysical aspect. And they're so intertwined with one another that it's hard to tell them apart. Therefore, you should seek treatment on both fronts. But at the same time, the warning is, be careful who you seek this treatment from. Be educated. And I'm hoping that this channel helps in this regard to some degree, that you need to be educated about these things, especially these new age movements and their beliefs and their ideologies, and some of the way these new age movements are tied in with ancient occult practices and ancient magical rituals. I mean, even think about these ideas like manifestation, to manifest the future, to put out vibrations into the universe. These types of ideas and language is very indicative of ancient magic. There are types of magic, if you study it, which are all about conscious projections, trying to manifest reality via your consciousness, imagining things into being. This is a part of magic. It's just being resold to us in a new packaging. And we have to be aware of this as we go on, and as, you know, the postmodern or meta-modern age, as some scholars refer to it, unfolds in front of us, and new age movements pick up and self-created ideologies begin to emerge. We need to be aware of this stuff. Don't fall into these traps. Don't fall into the trap of these protocols that tell you to contact these entities. You have to be cautious. You don't know what you're contacting. You don't know what you're getting involved in. You don't know the true nature of these entities and beings. And from the Islamic perspective, it's made very clear that these entities, known as the shayateen amongst the jinn, the evil jinn, have been interfering with humanity from the very beginning to try and mislead human beings, turn the life of human beings upside down, disrupt their existence. And that's why it's discouraged from the very beginning to make contact with these entities, to seek out these entities for help, to, you know, seek out magicians to help your whatever your issues or problems are. And we have a profound alternative within the Islamic tradition. The concept that is outlined to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah informing us about Himself, that He is the creator, the maintainer, the sustainer, the one that has true power, the one that's in control of all things, the one that is not dependent or reliant upon anything or anyone else, the one who's able to do all things, the all-powerful, the all-knowing. He is the one that we should be seeking help from. He is the one that we should be turning to, submitting to, relying upon, having tawakkul, the concept of tawakkul, reliance upon God, having taqwa, consciousness, awareness of God. That is the profound way. That is the clear way. That is the simple way. That's the intuitive way. You know, I mean, think about it logically. If you know God is the creator, the maintainer, the sustainer, the provider, you know He is the most perfect being with the most perfect names and attributes without deficiency or flaw, and that He loves us more than our own mothers love us, that He loves us more than anyone loves us, and He wants best for us. Shouldn't we be turning to this being alone, the one that can truly help us? Something for us to think about. Don't fall into these traps or these promises being made by some new ages out there, you know, that you come to this healing session and this will happen, or you do this therapy and this will help you. It's dangerous stuff. We don't need it. We have profound insights and profound ways of improving our lives and removing calamity and trials within the Islamic tradition, within our worldview. Turn back to Allah, ask Him alone, you know, and it's the straight path, it's the clear path, it's the safe path. Take care of yourself, brothers and sisters, inshallah. I just wanted to share this with you guys. N3on, I guess, is just an example, you know, for us to reflect upon. And if it's happening to him, it's probably happening to millions of other Muslims, young Muslims out there who are ignorant of these realities. Become educated in regards to who Allah is, first and foremost, in the Islamic tradition. That's going to go a long way in helping us understand these things. Also become aware of and educate yourself on the reality of the dark side of the unseen, the jinn, the shayateen, because that's also going to help you navigate your way through this world. And as it unfolds over the next, you know, several years. Just wanted to share this with you guys. Hope everyone is doing well, inshallah. If you haven't already, take a moment, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so we can carry on producing this content. Take care. May God bless you all, and I'll speak to you guys next time.